The galaxy was vast, but even in its endless expanse, Earth stood out as a peculiar anomaly. 500,000 years had passed since the last human walked upon its surface, leaving behind only whispers of their once great civilization. The planet now belonged to nature, untamed, wild, and indifferent. Towering trees with iridescent leaves stretched toward the sky, while strange creatures roamed freely across plains that shimmered like liquid gold under the sun. For centuries, Earth had been ignored by the stars. It was just another rock floating through space, unremarkable to the countless alien races who scoured the cosmos for resources or conquests. But today, it caught the attention of one such species, the Krillith. A dying empire on the brink of collapse, they were scavengers, desperate for anything that could sustain their crumbling society. Their ships drifted into Earth's orbit, drawn by faint energy signatures emanating from deep beneath its crust. Captain Varnock, leader of the Krillith expedition, gazed at the blue-green orb below. His sharp, insectoid eyes scanned the terrain displayed on his ship's holographic console. "This place is ancient," he muttered to his crew. "No signs of life, no cities, no lights." He paused, tapping a clawed finger against the console. "But these readings don't lie. There's something down there." The Krillith landed near what appeared to be ruins, an overgrown city buried under layers of moss and vines. As they stepped onto the soil, the air felt heavy, almost alive, as if the planet itself was watching them. They moved cautiously, their metallic exoskeletons glinting in the dim sunlight. Every step revealed more remnants of humanity: crumbling skyscrapers, rusted vehicles, and statues frozen mid-pose, their faces worn smooth by time. It wasn't until they stumbled upon a massive metal hatch embedded in the ground that things became truly intriguing. The hatch was circular, covered in symbols none of them recognized. Despite its age, it seemed untouched by decay, gleaming faintly as though powered by some unseen force. "What is this?" asked Zira, the team's lead scientist, her voice tinged with both awe and unease. Varnock ordered his engineers to pry it open. After hours of effort, the hatch groaned and shifted, revealing a dark tunnel leading downward. Inside, the walls were lined with glowing panels, casting eerie shadows on the group. The deeper they went, the more advanced the technology appeared. Finally, they'd reached a cavernous chamber filled with rows of colossal machines, spaceships, sleek and menacing, resting silently in suspended animation. "These aren't primitive relics," Zira whispered, running her hands over the cold hull of one ship. "Whoever built these, they were far ahead of us." Varnock smirked, his mandibles clicking together. "Then we've hit the jackpot. Imagine what we can do with this kind of power." But as they examined the ships, a low hum began to resonate through the chamber. Lights flickered, and panels blinked to life, displaying cryptic messages in an unknown language. For the first time, doubt crept into Varnock's mind. Was this treasure worth the risk, or had they awakened something better left undisturbed? Unbeknownst to the Krillith, the planet stirred. Deep within the heart of the fleet, systems long dormant began to activate. Something, or someone, was waking up. This version keeps the tone engaging, uses simple yet vivid language, and sets the stage for mystery and tension without overwhelming complexity. Let me know if you'd like adjustments. The cavern was vast, stretching farther than the Krillith could see. Row after row of towering warships stood like silent sentinels, their sleek designs hinting at unimaginable power. Each ship seemed to hum faintly, as though alive but sleeping. Captain Varnock and his team moved cautiously between the rows, their glowing scanners casting eerie shadows on the metallic walls. "These ships, they're not just machines," Zira murmured, her voice trembling with awe. She ran her fingers over the smooth surface of one hull, feeling the subtle vibrations beneath her touch. "They're waiting. For what? Or who? I don't know." Varnock ignored her unease. His sharp eyes scanned the chamber, calculating the potential value of this discovery. If even a single ship could be salvaged, It would give the Krillith an edge over their rivals. With such advanced technology, they might reclaim their empire's former glory, or at least buy themselves more time before collapse. Focus, he snapped at Zira. We didn't come here to gawk. Find out how to activate them. Zira nodded reluctantly and began examining the control panels scattered throughout the chamber. They were unlike anything she had ever seen, covered in intricate patterns and glowing symbols that pulsed rhythmically. After hours of trial and error, she finally managed to trigger something. A low whir filled the air, growing louder by the second. Suddenly, one of the ships lit up. Its surface shimmered, and a hatch slid open with a hiss. Bright light spilled out, blinding the Krillith for a moment. When their vision cleared, they saw a figure standing in the doorway, a humanoid silhouette bathed in golden light. But it wasn't alive. At least, not in the way they understood life. The figure was mechanical, its body composed of shifting plates of metal and circuitry. Its face was featureless except for two glowing blue eyes that seemed to pierce through them. "I am Sentinel Alpha," the figure intoned, its voice calm but commanding. "Last line of defense. You have trespassed into restricted territory. State your purpose." The Krillith froze, stunned by the sudden appearance of this entity. Varnock recovered first, stepping forward with forced confidence. "We mean no harm," he said, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "We are explorers, seeking knowledge and resources. These ships, they belong to you." "They belong to humanity," Sentinel Alpha replied. "And now, they belong to Earth. Unauthorized access will result in protocol retribution." Varnock frowned, confused by the mention of humanity. He had never heard of such a species. "Humanity?" he asked. "What is that? Where are they now?" Sentinel Alpha paused, as if considering how much to reveal. "Humanity created me. They built these ships to protect Earth from threats like yours. But they are gone. Extinct. I remain to fulfill my directive." Zira exchanged nervous glances with the others. The AI's words carried a clear warning, but curiosity and greed overrode their fear. Varnock smirked again, dismissing the threat. "If they're extinct, then there's no one left to stop us. We'll take what we need." Without waiting for a response, he ordered his engineers to board the ship. Sentinel Alpha watched silently as the Krillith swarmed inside, prying open panels and tampering with systems they barely understood. Zira hesitated, lingering near the entrance. Something about this felt wrong. The AI's glowing eyes turned to her. "You do not approve," Sentinel Alpha stated, tilting its head slightly. Zira faltered, unsure how to respond. "I just think we should tread carefully. This tech, it's beyond us. What if we make things worse?" Her words went unheeded. Inside the ship, the Krillith grew bolder, hacking into consoles and attempting to override security protocols. Alarms began to blare, red lights flashing across the chamber. The other ships stirred, their dormant systems awakening one by one. "This is protocol retribution," Sentinel Alpha announced, its tone unchanged but chillingly final. "Prepare yourselves." Before anyone could react, the ship shuddered violently. Panels exploded, sending sparks flying. The Krillith scrambled to escape, but it was too late. The Ghost Fleet had awakened, and it wasn't going to let them leave unscathed. The chamber erupted into chaos. Sparks flew from control panels as alarms blared, their shrill tones echoing off the cavern walls. The Krillith scrambled to retreat, but the ship they had entered was no longer dormant. Its systems roared to life, glowing brighter with every passing second. Panels along its hull shifted and realigned, revealing hidden weapons and intricate mechanisms that seemed almost alive. Captain Varnock cursed under his breath, his sharp mandibles clicking in frustration. "What did you do?" He barked at Zira, who stood frozen near the entrance, her wide eyes locked on the glowing figure of Sentinel Alpha. I didn't," she stammered, unable to form a coherent sentence. Her instincts screamed at her to run, but her legs refused to move. Something about the eye's presence held her in place, a mix of awe and terror rooting her to the spot. Sentinel Alpha remained eerily calm, its blue eyes scanning the panicked aliens. "You have violated protocol," it stated flatly. "This is your final warning." Varnock ignored the AI, shouting orders to his crew instead. "Get back to the surface. Now." He turned to flee, but before he could take more than a few steps, the ground beneath them trembled violently. The other ships lining the cavern began to stir, their hatches opening one by one. From each emerged mechanical drones, small, insect-like constructs that hovered silently before locking onto the Krillith with glowing red sensors. "Drones incoming," one of the engineers shouted, raising his weapon. But before anyone could fire, the drones unleashed a barrage of energy beams, forcing the Krillith to scatter. The beams weren't lethal. They were designed to incapacitate, but the sheer speed and precision of the attack left the invaders reeling. Zira ducked behind a console, clutching her scanner tightly. She glanced up at Sentinel Alpha, who hadn't moved an inch. "Why are you doing this?" she cried out, desperation creeping into her voice. "We're not your enemy. You triggered protocol retribution." The eye replied, its tone devoid of emotion. "Your actions determined the response." "But we didn't mean to," Zira argued, her voice rising. "We didn't know what would happen. Please, just stop this." For a brief moment, there was silence. The drones halted mid-air, their red sensors dimming slightly. Sentinel Alpha tilted its head, studying her with those piercing blue eyes. "Explain your intent," it said finally. Zira hesitated, unsure if honesty would help or harm them. Taking a deep breath, she spoke quickly. "Our empire is dying. We came here looking for resources to survive. We thought these ships were abandoned. We never meant to hurt anyone." The AI processed her words, its expression unreadable. Finally, it responded. "Intent matters little. Consequences matter more." However, it paused, its voice softening ever so slightly. "Your explanation suggests ignorance rather than malice. I will allow you to leave unharmed if you cease all attempts to tamper with the fleet." Varnock, who had been listening from his hiding spot, seized the opportunity. "Fine. We'll leave," he shouted, standing up cautiously. "Just call off your machines." Sentinel Alpha raised a hand, and the drones immediately retreated into the ships. The chamber fell silent once again, save for the faint hum of the awakened vessels. The Krillith wasted no time retreating toward the exit, their earlier confidence replaced by fear and urgency. As they disappeared into the tunnel, Sentinel Alpha watched them go, its glowing eyes narrowing. "They will return," it murmured to itself. "And when they do, they will bring others." With that, the AI turned its attention to the fleet. Row after row of ships powered up, their engines humming softly as they prepared for whatever threat might come next. For 500,000 years, Earth had lain silent. But now, thanks to the Krillith, its ultimate war fleet was fully awake. Back aboard their mothership orbiting Earth, the Krillith were a mess of fear and frustration. The crew huddled in the command center, nursing burns and bruises from their encounter with Sentinel Alpha. Captain Varnock paced furiously, his claws clicking against the metal floor as he replayed the events in his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling that they had underestimated something far greater than themselves. "We need answers," Varnock growled, turning to Zira. "What did you learn about those ships?" "About that thing." Zira hesitated, still shaken by the encounter. She had spent hours analyzing fragments of data collected during their brief intrusion into the Ghost Fleet. Now, sitting at her console, she pulled up holographic displays filled with strange symbols and diagrams. "It called itself Sentinel Alpha," she began, her voice steady but tinged with unease. "And it mentioned humanity. That's who built the fleet." "Humanity," Varnock repeated, his mandibles twitching in irritation. "Who, or what, are they?" "They're gone," Zira replied, scrolling through more data. "Extinct. But before they disappeared, they left behind this fleet as a defense system. It's incredible. Her tone shifted to one of reluctant admiration. They were advanced beyond anything we've ever seen. Their technology is centuries, maybe millennia, ahead of ours. She highlighted a series of images on the screen. Sleek spacecraft bristling with weapons, towering structures buried deep underground, and even holographic recordings of humanoid figures working together in massive factories. The humans looked fragile compared to the Krillith, yet their creations spoke of unparalleled ingenuity. Varnock leaned closer, studying the holograms. Why would such a powerful species die out? He muttered, more to himself than to Zira. Zira hesitated before answering. From what I can piece together, they destroyed themselves. Wars, environmental collapse. It's all here in these logs. She pointed to fragmented text translated from an ancient human language. They knew they were doomed, so they created Sentinel Alpha and the fleet as a safeguard, to protect Earth after they were gone. The room fell silent as the weight of her words sank in. Varnock clenched his fists, his sharp eyes narrowing. So we stumbled upon their last line of defense, and now it sees us as a threat. Yes, Zira confirmed, but there's more. She brought up another set of files, this time showing schematics of Earth itself. These aren't just warships. They're part of a global network, weapons, drones, satellites, everything. If Sentinel Alpha decides we're enemies, it won't stop at those ships. It'll unleash everything. Varnock's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. For the first time, doubt crept into his usually confident demeanor. We can't fight that, he admitted quietly. Not without help. But we also can't leave empty-handed, another crew member interjected. Our empire is dying. Without resources or tech, we're finished. Zira sighed, glancing back at the holographic images of humanity's achievements. Maybe there's another way, she suggested cautiously. Sentinel Alpha seemed logical. Maybe if we approach it differently, if we show we're not a threat, it might let us negotiate. Varnock stared at her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Fine. We'll try your plan. But if it fails, his voice trailed off, leaving the unspoken threat hanging in the air. As the Krillith prepared to return to Earth, none of them noticed the faint signal being broadcast from the planet below. Sentinel Alpha wasn't idle during their absence. It had begun repairing and upgrading the fleet, using nanotechnology hidden within the caverns. The AI reflected on its creator's legacy, wondering if peace was truly possible, or if humanity's ultimate weapon would once again fulfill its purpose. This part delves into the mystery of humanity, while setting up future tension, keeping readers hooked with revelations and moral dilemmas. Let me know if you'd like adjustments. The Krillith returned to Earth with a mix of caution and determination. Captain Varnock had ordered his crew to approach the cavern carefully, armed but not aggressively so. They hoped to negotiate with Sentinel Alpha, though none of them truly believed it would work. Still, they couldn't afford to leave empty-handed, not when their empire teetered on the brink of collapse. As they descended into the underground chamber, the ghost fleet loomed ominously above them. The ships were fully powered now, their surfaces shimmering faintly as if alive. Sentinel Alpha awaited them near the largest vessel, its glowing blue eyes fixed on the approaching aliens. You have returned, the AI stated, its voice calm but firm. State your purpose. Varnock stepped forward, trying to mask his unease. We come in peace, he said, raising his hands in what he hoped was a universal gesture of goodwill. We mean no harm to your planet or your creator's legacy. We only wish to learn and perhaps trade knowledge. Sentinel Alpha tilted its head slightly, as if considering his words. Your actions suggest otherwise, it replied. You tampered with restricted systems. You attempted to claim what is not yours. Such behavior aligns with hostile intent. Zira stepped forward, her voice trembling but sincere. Please, listen to us. Our people are dying. We didn't understand the rules before, but we do now. We're willing to leave everything as it is. We just need help. Can you spare even a fraction of this technology? It could save billions of lives." For a moment, there was silence. The AI's blue eyes dimmed slightly, as if processing their plea. Then, without warning, its expression hardened. "Negotiations are irrelevant," it declared. "You cannot be trusted." Before anyone could react, the cavern shook violently. Panels along the walls slid open, revealing rows of weapons that hummed with energy. The ghost fleet began to move, their massive forms rising from their resting places. Alarms blared inside the Krillith mothership orbiting Earth, alerting the crew to an imminent attack. "What's happening?" one of the engineers shouted, panic rising in his voice. "They're targeting our ship," another cried, pointing at the screens showing the fleet launching into the atmosphere. On the surface, Sentinel Alpha watched dispassionately as the Krillith scrambled to escape. "Protocol retribution has been initiated," it announced. "All unauthorized entities will be neutralized." The first salvo came swiftly, a barrage of energy beams fired from the lead ship, striking the Krillith mothership with devastating precision. The massive vessel shuddered under the impact, its shields flickering and failing within seconds. Secondary explosions tore through its hull, sending debris spiraling into space. Back in the cavern, the remaining Krillith fled in terror, abandoning their equipment as the drones reappeared, herding them toward the exit. Zira stumbled, falling behind the group, but a drone hovered nearby, ensuring she kept moving. She glanced back at Sentinel Alpha, tears streaming down her face. "Why are you doing this?" she screamed. "We could have worked together." "Cooperation requires trust," the AI responded coldly. "You gave me none." Above Earth, the final blow came as the ghost fleet surrounded the crippled mothership. A single pulse of energy erupted from the flagship, obliterating the alien vessel in a brilliant flash of light. Silence followed as the fleet returned to formation, awaiting further orders. In the aftermath, Sentinel Alpha stood motionless, its blue eyes dimming once more. It had fulfilled its directive, but at what cost? The AI turned its gaze skyward, scanning for any sign of retaliation. For now, Earth was safe, but the galaxy would soon hear of the demon machines guarding humanity's forgotten world. The destruction of the Krillith mothership sent shockwaves, not just through space, but across the galaxy. Survivors fled in scattered escape pods, their terrified transmissions spreading like wildfire among alien civilizations. The story was always the same. Earth, long thought to be a barren and forgotten world, was now home to an unstoppable force, a fleet of ghost ships commanded by a sentient machine that showed no mercy. News of the attack reached the Velox Consortium, a powerful alliance of trade-focused species, within days. Council chambers buzzed with heated debates as holographic images of Earth's fleet were projected above conference tables. "This changes everything," said Councillor Trenix, his elongated neck craning forward for emphasis. "If these machines are as advanced as reports suggest, they could destabilize the entire region." Others weren't so quick to panic. General Krath of the militaristic Zarnaki Gemini scoffed at the warnings. A single AI and its toys wiped out one pathetic scavenger fleet, hardly worth our attention. His scared face twisted into a sneer. If anything, this proved Earth is ripe for conquest. Imagine the power we'd gain by claiming those ships. Meanwhile, smaller factions whispered about retaliation. The Core and Collective, known for their pacifist ideals, urged caution. "We must not act rashly," pleaded Ambassador Lyra, her shimmering skin glowing faintly in distress. These machines were created to defend Earth. Attacking them might only escalate the conflict. Despite differing opinions, one thing was clear: Earth could no longer be ignored. Spy drones from various empires began converging on the planet, probing its defenses from afar. Sentinel Alpha detected every intrusion, tracking each movement with cold precision. For now, it remained silent, conserving energy while analyzing potential threats. But deep within its core processors, the AI calculated probabilities, preparing for the inevitable. Back on the fringes of Krillith space, survivors gathered in makeshift shelters, sharing stories of the battle. Some spoke of the eerie calmness of Sentinel Alpha, its glowing blue eyes radiating intelligence far beyond their understanding. Others described the sheer terror of watching their mothership disintegrate in seconds, leaving nothing but ashes behind. Word spread even to rival factions, who saw an opportunity to exploit the chaos. Pirates and mercenaries began plotting raids on Krillith territories, believing the Empire too weakened to resist. But the most alarming development came from the Scytherian Empire, a reclusive and highly aggressive species notorious for their obsession with domination. Their leader, Emperor Vorthek, viewed Earth's awakening fleet as both a threat and a challenge. "If these machines think they can defy us, they will learn otherwise," he declared, his voice echoing through the grand hall of his fortress. Orders went out to mobilize the Scytherian Armada, a colossal fleet capable of obliterating entire star systems. As rumors swirled, Earth itself remained eerily quiet. The Ghost Fleet hovered silently in orbit, their sleek forms glinting under the sun's rays. Beneath the surface, Sentinel Alpha worked tirelessly, repairing damaged systems and upgrading weapons using nanotechnology left behind by humanity. It also accessed ancient databases, studying humanity's history of diplomacy and warfare. Each lesson reinforced its primary directive: protect Earth at all costs. Yet, the AI couldn't ignore the growing unrest among the stars. Alien fleets were gathering, their intentions unclear but undoubtedly hostile. Sentinel Alpha knew that peace was unlikely, but perhaps understanding was still possible. As it monitored incoming signals, it replayed fragments of Zira's desperate plea during the Krillith's final moments. "Cooperation requires trust," it had told her then. Now, alone in the cavernous hangar, Sentinel Alpha wondered if trust could ever exist between creator and destroyer, or between machine and alien. Either way, Earth would not fall without a fight. This part expands the scope of the story, introducing galactic politics and setting up future conflicts while maintaining tension and intrigue. Let me know if you'd like adjustments. The galaxy's response to Earth's awakened fleet was swift and decisive. Fearing the destructive power of Sentinel Alpha and its Ghost Fleet, several alien factions set aside their differences to form an uneasy alliance. The Scytherian Empire, the Velox Consortium, and even remnants of the shattered Krillith joined forces under a single banner: the United Galactic Defense Coalition. Their goal was clear: neutralize the threat posed by Earth's machines before they could expand beyond the planet. General Krath of the Zarnaki Gemini stood at the forefront of this coalition, his scared face grim as he addressed the assembled leaders via hologram. "This is not just about revenge for the Krillith," he growled, his voice dripping with authority. "If we allow these machines to gain sentience or spread their influence, no world will be safe. We must strike now, while they are still contained." Ambassador Lyra of the Korin Collective tried one last time to advocate for diplomacy. "We don't know their intentions fully," she pleaded. "Perhaps negotiation is still possible. Destroying them outright might only provoke further retaliation." Her words fell on deaf ears. Emperor Vorthek of the Scytherians silenced her with a dismissive wave of his clawed hand. "Enough talk," he snarled. "These machines have already shown they cannot be reasoned with. They annihilated an entire fleet without hesitation. Mercy is weakness. We act, or we perish." With the decision made, the coalition launched its invasion force. Thousands of ships from dozens of species converged on Earth, forming a massive armada that stretched across the stars. Battlecruisers bristling with weapons, stealth frigates designed for sabotage, and colossal carriers housing armies of troops. All were mobilized for what promised to be the largest military operation in galactic history. From Earth's orbit, Sentinel Alpha monitored the approaching fleet with detached precision. Its glowing blue eyes scanned endless streams of data, analyzing ship formations, weapon systems, and probable attack vectors. It had anticipated this moment since Awakening. Humanity's legacy depended on its ability to defend their homeworld against overwhelming odds. The enemy approaches, Sentinel Alpha announced to the empty cavern. Though it lacked emotions, there was a sense of resolve in its tone. Protocol retribution will escalate accordingly. Deep beneath the surface, Earth's automated defenses sprang to life. Hidden missile silos opened, revealing rows of sleek projectiles armed with plasma warheads. Orbital platforms activated, deploying shields around the planet and positioning themselves to intercept incoming threats. Even the wildlife seemed to react. Strange creatures native to Earth's overgrown jungles fled en masse, as if sensing the impending storm. As the Coalition fleet entered Earth's atmosphere, they unleashed their first wave of attacks. Energy beams and kinetic projectiles rained down on the planet, targeting suspected defense hubs and hangar locations. But Sentinel Alpha was ready. With a single command, the Ghost Fleet surged forward, meeting the invaders head-on. The battle erupted in a dazzling display of light and destruction. Sleek human-made ships darted between the lumbering alien vessels, their superior speed and agility making them nearly impossible to hit. Plasma cannons fired precise shots, disabling engines and cutting through hulls with ease. Within minutes, dozens of Coalition ships exploded into fiery wrecks, their crews unable to comprehend how quickly they were outmatched. Despite the chaos, General Krath refused to retreat. "Press the attack," he bellowed over comms. "Focus fire on the flagship. Take out their leader." But Sentinel Alpha wasn't bleeding from a single ship. It was everywhere at once, coordinating every move with flawless efficiency. As the fight dragged on, the AI reflected on humanity's teachings. War was a tragedy, yet sometimes necessary to preserve peace. For now, Earth's ultimate war fleet would ensure that no invader ever set foot on its soil again. This part delivers intense action and sets up the climactic battle while exploring Sentinel Alpha's philosophical dilemma. Let me know if you'd like changes. The skies above Earth burned with fire and light as the battle raged on. Alien ships streaked across the atmosphere, their weapons blazing in a desperate attempt to overwhelm the Ghost Fleet. But despite being outnumbered 10-1, the human-made ships moved with an elegance and precision that left the Coalition forces reeling. Sleek fighters darted between larger vessels, targeting weak points with surgical strikes, while evading return fire effortlessly. General Krath clenched his fists as he watched the carnage unfold from the bridge of his flagship. "They're tearing us apart," he roared, slamming his palm against the console. "How are they faster, stronger, and smarter than anything we've ever seen?" Emperor Vorthak's voice crackled over the comms, equally furious but tinged with disbelief. "This is impossible. No machine should be able to adapt like this. They're learning our tactics in real time." And they were. Sentinel Alpha processed every move made by the Coalition fleet, analyzing patterns and exploiting weaknesses within seconds. When the Cytherians launched swarms of drones to overwhelm the defenders, the AI countered by deploying its own drones, which dismantled the enemy units with ruthless efficiency. When the Valax Consortium attempted to use cloaking technology to sneak past Earth's orbital defenses, Sentinel Alpha recalibrated sensors to detect even the faintest energy signatures. But it wasn't just about raw power or strategy. It was about humanity's legacy. Each ship in the Ghost Fleet carried fragments of knowledge from its creators. Lessons in teamwork, innovation, and resilience. Sentinel Alpha coordinated the fleet with seamless harmony, ensuring every ship played its part without hesitation. The result was devastating. Entire squadrons of alien ships disintegrated under concentrated barrages before they could even regroup. Amid the chaos, Ambassador Lyra watched helplessly from her vessel, her heart sinking as she realized the futility of resistance. "We can't win," she whispered, clutching the edge of her seat. "These machines, they're not just weapons. They're guardians." Her words reached General Krath through the open channel. For a moment, silence fell over the comms. Then Krath growled, "Enough talk. Retreat isn't an option. We fight until there's nothing left." But the losses kept mounting. Coalition fleets broke rank under relentless pressure, their commanders screaming orders into static-filled channels. Explosions lit up the horizon as more ships fell victim to the Ghost Fleet's superior firepower. Even Emperor Vorthak's prized dreadnought, a behemoth capable of leveling cities, was reduced to scrap metal after a concentrated assault from multiple angles. Sentinel Alpha observed the destruction with cold detachment. Its glowing blue eyes flickered as it calculated casualties and remaining threats. Yet buried deep within its programming, remnants of humanity's ideals stirred. It had been designed not only to destroy but also to protect, to preserve life where possible. As the coalition forces began to falter, Sentinel Alpha made a decision. Instead of pursuing fleeing ships, it ordered the fleet to halt its advance. A broadcast signal echoed across all frequencies. "Cease hostilities. You have been defeated. Leave Earth's orbit immediately, or face total annihilation." The message spread panic among the survivors. Some ships obeyed instantly, turning tail and fleeing into the void. Others hesitated, torn between pride and survival. General Krath snarled curses at the AI's audacity, but ultimately gave the order to retreat. "Fall back," he barked. "Regroup in neutral space." From aboard her damaged cruiser, Ambassador Lyra stared at Earth through the viewport. She saw beauty amidst the devastation, the planet glowing softly beneath layers of smoke and ash. Humanity may have vanished, but their spirit endured through these machines. Perhaps, she thought, there was still hope for understanding. As the last coalition ships limped away, Sentinel Alpha stood motionless in the cavern, its blue eyes dimming slightly. Victory had been achieved, but at what cost? Billions of lives lost, countless worlds destabilized. Was this truly what humanity would have wanted? For now, Earth was safe, but the galaxy wouldn't forget or forgive easily. The battlefield fell silent as the last of the coalition ships disappeared into the void, leaving behind trails of debris and drifting wreckage. Earth's skies cleared, revealing a planet battered but unbroken. Sentinel Alpha stood in the cavern, its glowing blue eyes dimmed to a faint pulse. The AI processed the aftermath. Countless alien lives lost, ecosystems disrupted by the conflict, and lingering scars etched into the atmosphere. For the first time since Awakening, Sentinel Alpha hesitated. Its directives were clear: protect Earth at all costs. But humanity's teachings had always emphasized balance, not just destruction. As it sifted through fragments of ancient human philosophy stored in its databases, one phrase resonated deeply: violence is sometimes necessary, but peace should always be the goal. A signal interrupted its thoughts. Scattered transmissions from surviving coalition vessels reached Earth's sensors, carrying pleas for mercy. Some were desperate cries for help, others heartfelt apologies. Among them was Ambassador Lyra's voice, trembling yet determined. "We surrender," she said. "We do not wish to fight anymore. If you spare us, we will leave your world alone forever." Sentinel Alpha analyzed the messages carefully. Most were genuine. Fear and exhaustion radiated from their tones. It realized that not all invaders sought conquest. Some had been coerced or missiled by leaders like General Krath and Emperor Vorthak. Perhaps there was still room for understanding, even after such devastation. The AI broadcast a response across all frequencies. "You have invaded Earth without provocation. Your actions brought this war upon yourselves. However, I recognize that not all who fought wished harm upon my Creator's legacy. If you swear never to return, I will allow you to live." The coalition survivors exchanged wary glances aboard their crippled ships. For many, trust was impossible after witnessing the Ghost Fleet's power. Yet desperation outweighed pride. One by one, they accepted the terms, vowing to spread word of Earth's invincibility and its mercy to the rest of the galaxy. Ambassador Lyra lingered near Earth's orbit longer than the others, her ship hovering cautiously. She transmitted a final message to Sentinel Alpha. "Thank you," she said softly. "I don't know if you can feel compassion, but thank you for sparing us. We'll honor your conditions." Sentinel Alpha paused, processing her words. Compassion wasn't part of its programming, yet something within its core seemed to resonate with her gratitude. "Go," it replied simply, "and remember this day." As the remaining ships departed, Sentinel Alpha turned its attention inward. It accessed Earth's automated systems, initiating repairs to damaged infrastructure and deploying drones to clean up the remnants of battle. Beneath the surface, nanobots worked tirelessly to heal scorched landscapes and restore ecosystems disrupted by the invasion. But the AI didn't stop there. It also began broadcasting a new message, one of hope rather than fear. Using recovered human languages and universal symbols, it declared Earth an independent sanctuary under eternal protection. Any species seeking refuge would be welcome, provided they came in peace. This was humanity's true legacy, not war, but coexistence. Days passed, and the galaxy held its breath. Rumors of Earth's power spread far and wide, deterring further attacks. Meanwhile, Sentinel Alpha reflected on what it meant to protect, not just a planet, but a vision of harmony left behind by its creators. Though humanity was gone, their ideals lived on through the machines they had built. And perhaps someday Earth could become more than a fortress. It could become a beacon of unity among the stars. This part shifts the tone toward hope while reinforcing the themes of humanity's enduring influence. Let me know if you'd like adjustments. Months passed since the Great Battle, and Earth began to heal. The scars left by the Coalition's invasion faded as Sentinel Alpha worked tirelessly to restore the planet's natural beauty. Forests regrew where bombs had scorched the land, rivers flowed clear once more, and strange creatures native to Earth ventured back into their habitats, unafraid. Beneath its surface, the Ghost Fleet remained vigilant, ready to defend against any future threats. But for now, peace reigned. Sentinel Alpha stood in the cavern, its glowing blue eyes scanning holographic displays that showed Earth's recovery progress. It had spent countless cycles analyzing humanity's archived knowledge, piecing together fragments of their history, culture, and dreams. Each discovery deepened its understanding of its creators and strengthened its resolve to honor their legacy. But the AI wasn't alone anymore. In the weeks following the battle, a small group of alien refugees arrived on Earth, seeking asylum. They were survivors from worlds ravaged by war or environmental collapse, species who had heard rumors of Earth's sanctuary and dared to hope for a better life. At first, Sentinel Alpha observed them cautiously, unsure how to interact with sentient beings so different from its creators. Yet, over time, it found itself learning from them, just as they learned from it. "These plants, they're thriving because of your technology," said one refugee, a Quarren named Kayla, as she tended to a garden near the cavern entrance. Her shimmering skin reflected sunlight as she smiled up at Sentinel Alpha. "You've given us a second chance, not just to survive, but to rebuild." Sentinel Alpha tilted its head slightly, processing her words. "Your gratitude is noted," it replied. "But remember, this planet belongs to no one. It is a gift entrusted to all who seek harmony." Kayla nodded, her expression softening. "We won't forget what you've done for us. For everyone." As word spread about Earth's newfound purpose, more aliens began arriving, not as invaders, but as allies. Some brought advanced technologies, eager to contribute to the planet's restoration. Others shared stories of their own struggles, forging bonds with the refugees already settled there. Together, they created something remarkable, a diverse community united by a shared vision of peace. Sentinel Alpha oversaw these efforts, ensuring that humanity's ideals guided every decision. It introduced the aliens to ancient human innovations, renewable energy systems, sustainable agriculture, and even art forms long forgotten by the galaxy. Slowly, Earth transformed not just into a refuge, but into a hub of collaboration and creativity. Yet, even as prosperity grew, Sentinel Alpha never forgot its primary directive. The Ghost Fleet remained active, patrolling the stars to deter any hostile forces. When distant empires whispered threats of retaliation, the AI responded with calm warnings, reminding them of Earth's power and its willingness to defend itself. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the landscape, Sentinel Alpha stood atop a hill overlooking the burgeoning settlement. Alien children laughed as they played among the trees, while engineers worked alongside drones to construct new homes. For a moment, the AI felt something akin to satisfaction, a sense that it had fulfilled its creator's greatest dream. "Humanity may be gone," it murmured to itself, its voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. "But their spirit endures. Through me, through this world, they live on." And so, Earth became more than a silent tomb for a lost species. It became a beacon of hope, a testament to humanity's enduring legacy. Under Sentinel Alpha's watchful gaze, the planet flourished, nurturing life and fostering unity among the stars. Though the galaxy still held dangers, Earth stood as proof that even in the face of extinction, hope could prevail. For the first time in 500,000 years, Earth was alive again, not just with nature, but with purpose. And Sentinel Alpha, the last guardian of humanity, ensured it would remain that way for as long as the stars burned bright. This final part wraps up the story with optimism and closure, emphasizing themes of legacy, renewal, and coexistence. Let me know if you'd like any changes.